Welcome to another edition of RCE. This is Brock Palen, and I actually have sitting next to me the one time a year, Jeff Squyres from Cisco Systems, my wonderful co-host. Jeff, thanks for donating your hotel room.
That's right. This is the second annual show where we're both together in the same location to record. It's a very special event.
Yeah. So this event, of course, is Supercomputing 2010, SC10, and it's a little different. And
let's just chat about the show. I mean, the first obvious thing is I have run into slightly less than 7 billion of our prior guests on
Yes.
the show floor. So here's the names I've run into. So Dan Templeton.
Yep. Dan was recently on the show.
Just recently on the show, and some people doubted that Oracle would be here, but living proof.
Yep.
He was there.
They were here with a booth.
They were there with a booth, and he was shilling OGE.
Yep.
And he was giving out freebies, and he was very pleased about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we also ran into Nicole Hemsworth.
Yep, the author. You can follow her on Twitter at HPC in the Cloud.
HPC in the Cloud, all one big word there. And she is actually quite funny. Our sense of humor actually match very well. It's a little side story. How much gets left on the cutting room floor whenever we record an RCE, isn't it? Yes. Much does not quite get to air.
Yes, a lot does not.
A lot does not get to air. But it was always nice to see Nicole. Well, actually, it was the first time we had met in person. But we had a nice chat, and she got a nice RCE shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did. And Ashley Pittman was here. He was kind of here on his own, but also representing Data Direct Networks, his
sort
data
of
employer.
Representing DDN, yes.
And he was helping them out. He's a real nice guy.
Not PADB. PADB. Yes, that's right.
PADB.
Actually, he's got that lovely British accent there. Sounds cooler than all of us.
Yes, the British accent.
Yeah.
And speaking of accents,
Dr. Brice Gogla. Yeah, you
Brice.
didn't even want to try.
Yeah,
you didn't want to try.
Dr. Brice and some of his colleagues.
Yeah. We had Brice speaking in the Cisco booth, and we also had Brice speaking at the OpenMPI forum. So he was talking about HW Loc that we had him on the show for, but also talking about KNM, which is another product or another project. Maybe we'll have him on talk about KNM someday.
Mm-hmm. Also saw Scat Lathrop and Kay Hunt from the TerraGrid and the TerraGrid Campus Champions program. Again, I'm the Campus Champion. I'll have more information on that later. Mm-hmm. But who else did you run into?
So I ran into all the MPitch people because MPI is a small world, but we had the MPitch guys on
MPICH.
I'm sorry, MPICH. That's right. If we're going to do PADB, we can do MPICH. Mm-hmm. So saw the MPICH people. Amusingly enough, their BOF was directly opposite the hallway from the OpenMPI BOF, which is actually a real shame because it was unfortunate that the MPICH BOF and the OpenMPI BOF were at the same time because I know there were people that wanted to go to both. I definitely wanted to go to theirs, see what they have to say and stuff like that. But there's only so many time slots, and I'm sure there was compromises made all over the place. But it was kind of a bummer that the two big open source MPIs were kind of competing because I'm sure we stole some audience from each other.
And we also saw Heya Nam and Tiki Swears Brown.
Yep.
I didn't realize that was Tiki,
at
but
the time,
I guess
yeah.
it was Tiki that I met, and that was for the student cluster competition.
Yeah, we judged. So Brock and I were part of the judging crew for the interview portion of the student cluster competition today, which was tremendous fun. Actually, I had a great time doing that. And
we'll have more about that.
We will have more about that. Yes.
Yeah, we will have more about that soon.
I also ran into Rich Graham. Rich Graham and Bill Gropp did the MPI forum episode for us a while ago. So, I see Rich Graham all the time, but
all the new stuff going into MPI.
You got to tick him off here as a guest. So
HDF. And you also ran to
Jason Stowe. Yeah, Jason Stowe from Supercomputing.
Mm-hmm. The commercial Condor provider and supporter.
And doing cloudy things too.
Yeah, they're a pretty versatile piece of equipment they've got there.
Yeah.
Software equipment.
So that exhausts my list. Do you run any more?
No. That's everybody you mentioned.
It's a pretty good group, though. Actually, that's a...
No, it's good. There was a good RCE showing. And also, I managed to, tonight... It's Wednesday night, by the way, when we're recording this. So if anything good happens on Thursday at the show...
just pretend we put it in the show.
Yeah. Gave away my last RCE T-shirt.
I have two more. I have two more to go.
So this is
cool. Well, nobody's going to hear this before.
No one is.
Well, I'll still manage to get them away tomorrow. This is someone who is worthy.
Yeah.
My goal here, though, is to win an iPad. I've entered every single iPad drawing on the show floor, but yet I still have not won.
That
so
is
sad.
By far the most popular drawing giveaways. Everyone's giving away an
Everybody's
iPad.
giving away an iPad,
Yeah.
but only a few people are getting them. I'm not one of them yet.
So big things going on that we saw at Talks and Stuff. OpenSFS, a scalable file system.
Yep, a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, this is the organization that's set up to kind of have an entry point and funding for doing Lustre development, and they are very tightly in with Oracle.
Okay,
So there is
so explain that. So yeah, there's a lot of questions.
No forking. That was very
Okay.
heavily leaned on. No forking.
Okay, good.
Stuff being done in SFS will be pushed up to Oracle. Things that Oracle do will be brought down to SFS. They should stay compatible.
Okay.
There's no forking.
Sounds like there's harmony.
Yes.
Harmony.
Yes.
Good.
So,
all right, well, that's good.
So Lustre Future is...
Lustre Future looks bright.
Lustre Future looks bright.
Okay.
Wham Cloud
Mm-hmm.
ran into them at the TerraGrid conference. They had a single placeholder page for a website.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of Lustre devs
Mm-hmm.
and this whole shakeup. They are fully funded in a major way working on Lustre with Oracle, where Lustre's going to be a...
Lustre's going to keep... So
Lustre's gonna be a
Lustre's
good
future is
product.
very bright.
Lustre's future is very bright.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm sure a lot of people will be relieved about that.
Mm-hmm.
As mentioned, we had an OpenMPI BOF. We talked about the 1.4 series and the 1.5 series, where we're going. A couple samples of up-and-coming projects which aren't in the release series yet. But the BOFs were only an hour this year, so we actually didn't get to get into any meaty stuff, and we didn't really get to get too much audience feedback, which was kind of a bummer. We like doing that every year. We develop all this stuff back at our little cloisters into things that we think are useful to the world, but it's always good to get real world feedback from actual users, actual admins, and things like that. And so we didn't really have enough time to get that, which was a little bit of a bummer this year. But otherwise, the forum. The MPI OpenMPI BOF was pretty good. We were in a ginormous room, though. I don't know how we got a ginormous room, and it looked like it was empty, even though we had upwards of like 60 people in the room. So it was good attendance.
60 people, that's good attendance.
But it looked like, oh yes, there aren't many people here. But it was still good. We got a couple of nice questions at the end, and some good feedback. But would have been nice to be a little bit longer.
So as we mentioned earlier, we ran into Iki, Squyres Brown, and Hey Anam. After our last recording, they asked Jeff and I to help out, along with two other people, doing the interview portions of the competition. Had a number of teams, a few international teams.
A couple international teams, and boy, some of those teams were just really impressive. But we'll talk about that. We'll have a separate show all about that.
We'll have a separate follow-up with the student cluster competition.
Yeah. And of course, it's obligatory for my corporate overloads to say that Cisco had a nice booth here, and we're showing a bunch of nice products. We're showing 40 gig in our booth, 40 gig Ethernet, because we love all things Ethernet. Doesn't everybody love all things Ethernet?
I think everybody has some Ethernet who has a cluster.
It's probably true. Most people do have Ethernet. So yeah, we were showing a bunch of 40 gig stuff, which is actually pretty cool. There's 100 gig on the floor as well.
Yeah, lots of 100.
Lots of 140 gig, and Cisco is powering a bunch of 100 gig and 40 gig stuff in SciNet itself. So that's actually pretty cool. So that stuff I think will be publicly available around the corner. I'm not in the marketing arm of Cisco, so don't hold me to any dates or anything like that. But I know that stuff is coming soon. It's all very exciting, good stuff.
Yeah, saw some 10 gig E on Twisted Pair, regular RJ45.
Yeah, baby.
So it's just the same way we went from 10 to 100 to 100 to gig. Pretty soon there's going to be 10 gig.
That's right, baby. You're going to have 100 gig into your alarm clock. Because you're going to need it for those
completely lossless
big, large
buzzer
letters.
Sound,
That's
right?
Lossless buzzers.
That's stored in the cloud.
That's right. You could pick one from a million different movies to stream to your alarm clock simultaneously.
We had a get-together for the Campus Champions. I'm the Campus Champion for the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. The Campus Champion program, we have a bunch of new champions, really turning into a big crew, a really good crew of people helping at